bank grass is so productive for me because I made a lot of money in it. And the way I look at it, grass is green and money's green, so that's kind of the two I put together. But no, seriously, it's going to provide year-round cover for these fish. The water willow that I mentioned at the beginning, it never truly dies off. It doesn't go away like your submergent grass with like a hydrilla or a milfoil, where it'll be completely gone or only, you know, a couple, you know, feet off the surface or off the bottom, and you can't see it, you know, on the surface. This water willow and most bank grasses, they will die in the wintertime, but they're still going to be there. There's still going to be something there for those fish to hold on to. And even with all that stuff dead, you're still going to have the same bottom content, so that kind of plays into why the fish want to hold to it year round. And that's why I think it is so productive, is because it is good year round. You just have to approach it differently, use different baits, get your timing down depending on the time of year and stuff like that. Also, if you're in a river situation or you've got a lot of current present wherever you're at, where this bank grass is, it can actually, you know, make current breaks like a log would, like rocks, anything like that. And most of the time you'll see the current breaks into, you know, around a foot, 18 inches inside the grass. They won't be necessarily set up right on the edge, because when I mean the edge, when the grass comes off the bank, it's gonna have a hard edge. Hardly ever is it gonna be spread out. That you're not gonna get a lot of current break with that spread out sparse grass. The current breaks are mainly coming into play with the hard edge. And like I said, those fish can just back up off that edge a foot, you know, 16, 18 inches, and still be able to see out into the current where it's washing by them, where they can run out there and feed, but they won't have to be spending a lot of energy, you know, out there in it, where they can just tuck back into the grass. And like I said, it causes a current break just like a rock, like a dock, like a log, anything like that, which when there is current present, fish always want to try and get out of it a little bit to be able to ambush bait. From a good water quality standpoint, what I mean by that is not necessarily the clarity of the water, but more just the actual water itself. That most bank grasses, and the water willow especially, puts a lot of oxygen into the water, and that basically just means that's good for the entire ecosystem that a bass is looking for. It's good water quality for him, it's good water quality for crayfish, shad, any kind of forage that you have present in your lake, brim, bluegill, crappie, anything like that. So with that good water quality, you're going to have all this forage and stuff always living around this grass, and in turn, that's what that bass has to have to live. I mean, he eats to live, and wherever that forage goes, that's where he's going to go. So that's why I also feel like you're always going to have fish present in grass because of that main point. That would be my biggest point, is there's always bait around this because of the water quality, and a lot of people don't realize that type of grass, or most bank grasses, put off a lot of oxygen into the water. And that just goes into my last point about holding the forage. I mean, that's really what those fish are keying on. That helps you, you know, basically locate these fish down a bank. Like, let's say you're going down you're just going down a bank on 6 or 7, and you've got some docks, got some riprap, and you've got a stretch of bank grass that's 100 yards long. Well, your highest percentage place to get a bite is going to be in that grass, just because that's what he wants. He likes the water quality. There's probably bait there, crawfish, shad, anything like that. Not saying you won't get bit on any of the other stuff, but your most high percentage area is going to be that little bit of grass when you roll up to and see that situation. Moving on, like if you're a flipper, a big flipper, you know, you can flip a Texas rig around. I like to flip a Texas rig in the springtime around the grass because, like I said, the fish tend to be more in a spawn mindset more than a eating. And I feel like they bite a Texas rig a lot better on the bed or with a spawning mindset than they do a big jig. You know, like I said, buzz baits, swim jigs, horny toads, floating worm, reaction style, then you want to slow down. I would definitely stick with a Texas rig. Zoom's Linky's a really good bait to pitch around during the spawn as well around this grass. It's just a stick bait. I'm going to go into the baits a little bit more, obviously, but that's kind of the breakdown for spring. Third season of the year would be the summer, if you're counting it the way I am. Summer in the south, or where a lot of this bank grass is present, you know, it can get really hot. We can have water temperatures into the mid 80s, sometimes low 90s. I think I won a BFL at Neely one time, and I think the water temperature was like 91 when we took off, or maybe like on into the morning or something. And we actually had to cut that tournament short, and I don't know if I can say pissed on here, but I wasn't very happy that we were cutting it short, because I felt like the hotter the water got, the better the bite got in this shallow grass, and that's how I was catching them. Because what was happening was the water was getting to 92, 93 degrees, and the only place those fish felt comfortable was in the shade, number one. Well, everybody was fishing shade, you know, just running shady banks. Or number two, those fish were getting tucked up in this grass where they had oxygen present, and the leaves of this grass, when it gets to grow, it actually makes a little bit of a canopy and gets enough shade for those fish to feel comfortable. A fish doesn't really mind that he's in 92-degree water if his water quality is good, and that goes back to having the oxygen present around this grass. And then if he can just get, you know, his eye behind some shade, he thinks his whole body's in the shade. He knows no different. All he knows is a fish gets attracted to shade because he doesn't have eyelids. He can't close his eyes like we can, and they obviously can't put on sunglasses. So he just wants to get something behind his eye, like a blade of grass, a twig, a dock post, just anything like that. So you're actually getting some shade in this bank grass when you don't realize it, and it's not so obvious to other anglers that that's not a shady bank, so I'm not going to fish it after 10 o'clock.
And the information Bass University provides isn't your basic run-of-the-mill fishing video. This is specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly.